I think I'm on a whole new level. I think I'm breaking out my mental. I'm finally finding my inner peace, baby.
Welcome back to the Final Drive Podcast, episode 5, and week 3 wrapped up, and we are moving on to week 4. But looking back at week 3, what a week of football! So many exciting games, so many good games, and there's one position that really rose above the rest, and I think pretty obviously that is the kicker. It was the week of the kicker. We had 3 game winners, and I guess 4 if you count the overtime win for the Raiders. And Will is here as well.
Yes, sir. Good to be back.
And we are going to go over these week 3 games. And I guess we'll start it off with some of these game winners. The big one being the record-setting 66-yard field goal by Justin Tucker to beat the Lions. Unreal. Hayes, what did you see this live? What was your reaction to the kick?
Unfortunately, did not get to see it live. I was watching the Saints and the Bengals play. But I mean, I heard about it and I was more so impressed that this record was broken anywhere but in Denver.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was my initial reaction. And I just thought that was funny. But I mean, it's like people give so much credit to Tucker for making, and obviously, like, it's a record-setting 66-yard field goal, which is amazing. But you got to give credit to Lamar for that 4th and 19 he converted.
Yeah.
Right before that, to get Tucker even in position to kick that field goal. So,
100%. Also, is this the most Lions way to lose a football game ever?
Yeah, I mean, I really like what I've seen from the Lions so far. Obviously they are 0-3, but they feel like they have a lot more energy than what they have the past few years under Patricia. New head coach.
Motor City Dan.
Yeah, big kneecap Dan. But I mean, even the fact that they were competitive with the Ravens and held them to 19 points and stayed competitive until the final seconds just goes to show you how improved this team is.
Yeah. The way I look at it is that the Lions have played 3 great halves of football and 3 terrible halves of football, because they almost came back against the Niners in that second half. They were up on the Packers in week 2.
And then had the lead going into the end of the 4th against the Ravens.
It's kind of amazing that they're 0-3. Maybe it's the Calvin Johnson curse. You never know.
They have played a tough schedule so far, to be fair. So,
well, also that. I'm going to say it's the curse for my own entertainment.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't think we have to spend too much time on it, but another game winner was Falcons Giants. Cool. Good job, Falcons.
Yeah, just a game between 2 really awful teams this year. Good to see the Falcons pick up a win under new head coach Arthur Smith. So
tough scene for Daniel Jones. Tough scene.
Yeah,
it's getting pretty dark.
People were pretty high on that team. Not too high, but higher than they've been the last couple of years, and they started out 0-3.
It's a tough scene down there.
Yeah, both New York teams, they're feeling up there in New York.
Yeah, can we talk about that 26-0 routing of the Jets by the Broncos? Let's go to the Sunday night game. Was Packers 49ers. The only thing that I really need to talk about here is that Aaron Rodgers is amazing, and that can we finally put to rest the Aaron Rodgers doesn't care headline?
No, he clearly does not care. He's trying to lose his. No, I'm just kidding. How much time is left? Like 36 seconds, 32 seconds? I mean,
yeah, 37.
You can't leave him with any time. I mean, Juszczyk scored, and the Niners thought they had it all wrapped up, but no, you're playing against Aaron Rodgers. You got him sitting on the other side of the field. I mean, you got to be ready for anything. And Devontae coming back in the game after taking that vicious hit was really tough, and really I was really impressed with that.
Yeah.
And I just want to say also, I felt like this was one of the worst weeks in terms of reffing that I've ever seen
I am
across the
so
NFL.
glad you pointed this out. Yeah.
Across the NFL, especially in the two primetime games in the back half. So the Packers game and then the Eagles Cowboys game was also terribly officiated. There was the one where Dak had gotten in like clearly, and Dallas challenged it, and it was still ruled not a touchdown. And I don't know. There were some really questionable calls in both of those games, and it's not a good look for the NFL when that kind of thing happens.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree with you, and I am so happy you brought this up because if you didn't say it, I was going to say it as our next thing. The officiating, I echo everything you said. It was terrible. What I look for at specifically is pass interference and like roughing the passer, because as I was watching the primetime games and I was obviously locked into the Packer game, was if there's any contact on the receiver, it just seemed to be a PI. And I have no problem with it if it's consistent. Like if it's okay, yeah, that's a PI. But it's almost like they just kind of throw it up whenever. And the hit that Devontae took, it's unbelievable to me, one, that he's not injured right now or in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
But if you're going to call all of the ticky-tacky pass interference calls and you're not going to call the biggest hit maybe of the season so far, like I just want to see some consistency. And it's frustrating to watch the game. And my dad and I were even joking. We were like, oh, there's another touch. Oh, is that going to be pass interference? Just stupid stuff. It's just annoying.
Yeah, I mean the NFL's got to tighten up with especially pass interference. I mean, like as a Saints fan, I hate complaining about the refs because I get made fun of it so often. But they need to tighten up with the pass interference rules. They have to be more consistent, like you said. And whether that's loosening them and letting the players play or tightening them up, which I feel like is more likely just because that results in bigger plays and higher scores and more viewership. But
yeah,
they need to be more consistent with it no matter what. And just those two games is just a terrible look for the league as a whole.
Especially when momentum is involved and when the refs become bigger than the actual game itself. You never want to have the story be the penalties.
Yeah.
And to have, I feel like almost both games and even like pretty much around the league, it was like you'd have third downs where there was good coverage and there'd be PIs. It doesn't really make much sense to me. It's just annoying as a fan watching.
Yeah, it is really annoying. But I think we've hit on it well enough. So one game that I want to talk about is the Bengals game against the Steelers. Just because I was pretty heavily invested in that game.
Yeah.
Just one is a big Joe Burrow fan, and then two is a secondary Bengals fan. But I thought the Bengals played really well. Obviously, like the Steelers lost like 3 of their receivers to injuries during the game, and they didn't have Deontay Johnson going into the game. And so that's a really tough scene for them. But I mean, Big Ben is just not what he used to be at all. And the Bengals defense is looking so much better than it has in years past. Burrow's looking sharp. Chase is looking like the rookie of the year right now. And I think the Bengals are looking like they can compete this year.
I honestly completely agree with you there. I was watching this entire game with our friend T-Sat. Shout out to McCrae's Tavern. It's like the Steelers Atlanta. Like it's the spot to go watch the Steelers game basically. And I have never been in a bar full of people where the Steelers would get the ball and there'd still be completely hopeless for the game. That is how little confidence that even Steelers fans have right now in Ben Roethlisberger. He just looks too old. Like he's stiff when he runs around. He's got like that 6-second 40 speed right now.
Yeah, the fact that Tom Brady isn't the slowest quarterback in the league right now is mind blowing. And obviously that title I would give to Big Ben.
Yeah. It's honestly like it's fun to watch games like this because the Bengals and the Steelers are pretty much two completely different styles of football and also heading in very different directions. And because I feel like a team like Cincinnati is younger and it's faster, and you can just see that it's kind of evolving with the game. We've seen that the last 2 years. The Bengals have really evolved this year. They look miles ahead of where they were last year. And last year they were still doing a similar thing, but not quite as, to the extent that they're running right now. But then the Steelers, I feel like they've tried to be loyal to Big Ben, and they are being loyal to Big Ben, which is hurting them right now. I think with them not getting younger at the quarterback position and not getting away from a veteran player, it's hurting them in the long run and is not complimenting the young guys like Najee, Juju, Chase Claypool. Because when Cincinnati let go of Andy Dalton and decided to get rid of the veteran and just really completely refresh, get a young quarterback and get the guy for the future, Pittsburgh kind of didn't do that. You know what I mean? I feel like they were in a similar position.
Right. And I mean, to me, it's like the Steelers are in such a weird spot right now after coming off the 11-0 start last year. Mainly due to like schedule and kind of luck, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're in such a weird spot in terms of competing and like they're kind of like the gatekeepers in my opinion, and I think they are trending down now at this point. But it's like they have such a wide range of ages. It's like you've got guys like Big Ben, and then you have guys like Najee, and it's like on the same offense, and it's like it is like two different styles clashing almost. I feel like on both sides of the ball. And you're not getting any younger at the offensive line positions or the quarterback. And I mean, the Bengals had like 4 or 5 sacks against the Steelers. And I mean, it's like they lost Villanueva, and it's I don't know. It's just looking rough for them right now. I don't like where this team is headed.
I totally agree with you. And going off what you were saying about the O-line, it also does not help an older O-line to have an older quarterback who's not mobile.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it puts so much more pressure on the O-line.
There's so much on Najee's hair, especially in this game, just because of all the receivers being out, but there's so much on Najee's shoulders right now. And that's a lot to deal with as a rookie. And I applaud him for how he's handling it, because he did have a really good game against the Bengals. But that's a lot to put on a rookie. And I just think the Steelers I do think they need to go into rebuild mode. Maybe not full rebuild, but like
they need a quarterback. Like they need a solid QB.
You need to bolster the O-line. Maybe I think it's time to see all these great players from the old Steelers, Super Bowl runs, get the boot. As sad as it is to say, but you can't hold on to the past. You got to move on. And they're looking like the worst team in this division right now. And to me, it's not close, but to other people, it might be. I mean, obviously the win against the Bills was crazy, but 2 straight losses to the Raiders and Bengals is not great.
Not great for sure. I'm going to echo everything you said. I guess one last thing that I'll point out before we move on is you did mention like just Najee Harris and how much pressure's on his shoulders. He's almost playing like a running back and a tight end at the exact same time. He's getting like he had 14 receptions for over 100 yards as a running back. Like that is ridiculous.
And I mean, it's just like, that's the kind of back he is. That's the kind of back he's always been, is like that hybrid back, like a Kamara, where, you'll see the power runs, but then also a lot of screens, a lot of routes. And I think he has played really well. And I feel like he's dealt with this pressure and like coming into Pittsburgh like that, with the team, how it is. I felt like he's done a really good job, and he's been their offense, at least like the last at least this week for the most part. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Why don't we kick it over to Carson 2 spraying Wentz and the Indianapolis Colts and the Titans game, which I thought was pretty interesting because I think the Colts are a team that I want to cheer for them. I think they're such a good team. And to see them at 0-3 is just kind of crazy to me. I think that they're just the combination of a new team and a very difficult schedule to open up the season because it's always difficult. Carson Wentz is almost like a rookie right now because he's in a new system and has to play against extremely difficult competition to open up the season. And I feel like that is the reasoning for why the Colts are 0-3 right now more than their play right now.
Yeah, they've had a really tough opening schedule for one. And then, I mean, like, personally, I did not watch this game, so I'm looking at the stats now, and I'm just noticing like a couple things is time of possession. Obviously, Tennessee is going to win that most of the time just because Derrick Henry is a beast. And obviously, he did run all over the Colts this week with 113 yards. And they did give it to him 28 times. But it also looks like Wentz just did not complete a lot of his passes. And it just doesn't look like he was doing as well as he could have, and their offense just couldn't get it going really. But I mean, I don't really know what to make of this game, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Just an interesting matchup, I think, because I think the Titans were one of those teams that after week 1, we were kind of concerned with just what they looked like, but they're one of those teams like a who else? Like a Green Bay Packer team that looked terrible week 1, but I think has stepped up in the last couple of weeks and like, all right, let's calm down here, folks. Sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like getting back to their winning ways, and that kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. Same with the Bills, obviously. I'll just hop over to that game because we have not seen the Washington defense come alive yet. Like the Bills just went out and dominated.
Yeah.
And that just was not a pretty game. That the defense, I hate saying it's overrated, but it's like right now it's looking like it. Like they have so much talent and they still let the Bills put up 43. And granted, it's the Bills, but still that's a lot of points for a team that's supposed to be competing for their division title. And
that is a ton of points. Yeah. Josh Allen is he's back. Yeah. I think we can say he's back now.
Yeah. He's firmly cemented himself back as a top 10 quarterback for sure.
Just want to say shout out to Trubisky. Completed 100% of his passes this week.
He did complete 100% of his passes. Look at him go.
Shout out to him. Talking about another team that kind of got killed, but by the defensive line of the Cleveland Browns is the Chicago Bears. Myles Garrett kind of went off and did whatever he wanted against the Bears. And I'm going to go ahead and call it. I'm calling for Matt Nagy's head if I'm the owner. I think it's time. I think it's time. Get him out of Chicago. I don't think this offensive guru that he claims he is, the experiment isn't working, or it has not worked either.
Nagy is so funny to me because he'll criticize his players and their play, and it's his play calling that's like causing the play so poorly. And obviously, like you were talking about with the Myles Garrett thing, rookie quarterbacks just did not have a good time this week. Both Justin Fields and Zach Wilson were just running for their lives. Neither of them have an O-line right now.
Poor Zach Wilson. I feel so bad.
It's really sad to see, especially for Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the Bears-Browns Nagy situation, I agree with you. I think it is. Nagy's got to be on the hot seat, if not the hottest seat in the NFL right now, aside from maybe like I would say like a Zach Taylor, but Zach Taylor's actually 2-1 right now. So
there you go.
Yeah, but Nagy has just not, like you said, he claims to be this offensive guru and it's not working. And then he goes out and criticizes his players for playing poorly, but it's his offensive scheme and play calling that causes them to play so poorly.
It's so disappointing too, because you have such a dynamic player like Justin Fields, a guy who can really be super damaging with his legs or with his arm. And to see an offense that has no pre-snap motion, or just it looks so stale, like they look boring when they're out there. When you have a guy like Justin Fields who should be like the guy you want to go see. Like you want to go see Justin Fields run around the field and have crazy plays going on. And if it just feels like that nothing is centered around him. I feel like he's trying to look like Andy Dalton, which is like you should be the quarterback that you were brought in to be. And I'm putting that on Matt Nagy. I'm not putting that on Justin Fields. I just think, like you said, sort of with the Bengals, you got to let Justin Fields be Justin Fields. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the Bengals have this week I thought was better in terms of letting Burrow sling it around. But anyway, we're not talking about them anymore. But yeah, I agree. I think Fields only got to throw 20 times. And I mean, a lot of that has to do with the O-line being so poor and the pass protection being so poor. But I mean, you still have to, that is one of his biggest strengths, is scrambling and getting outside the pocket and making those on the run throws. And when you've got guys like Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney, you and David Montgomery, you have to let him sling the ball around a little bit. I mean, that's crazy that your top 10 receiver, arguably top 10 receiver, has 2 receptions for 27 yards.
Yeah.
Like that's wild to me. And Allen Robinson has not played well at all. And I don't blame him. I blame Nagy and the O-line play, but mostly Nagy. So
It is also tough to win when you have 9 sacks against you.
Yeah.
Stuff. Why don't we move it to probably the best game, 2 Super Bowl contenders, Buccaneers, Rams. Again, we've said this every week, so I don't know if I need to say it again, but my God, is Matthew Stafford the perfect quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams? To complement that defense so well, I'm going to say it's the 4th week in a row I've said it, but it's great. The Rams are great. Shout out to the Rams for, just doing their thing.
Matthew Stafford is, I would say, a top 3 MVP candidate right now.
I love that take. Yes.
Him along with Kyler and Carr, I would say, are the 3 at the top of my list at the moment.
Okay.
But Stafford and Kupp have looked unreal. Especially, like, Kupp is in the MVP race right now. I would say, like, at least top 10, maybe even top 5, just based off of how the season's going right now. Like, he is playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah.
And I love that connection between them. Like, they've played together for 3 games, and it looks like they've been playing for years at this point. And it's such a breath of fresh air to see Matthew Stafford start out 3-0 in his first season with the Rams, after having one 3-0 season with the Lions after 11 years or so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good to see him finally be in a winning environment and with a coach like Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Also,
shout out to them for resurrecting Deshaun Jackson. 120 yards at a touchdown.
He's still got it. He's been a deep threat for, feels like, 2 decades at this point.
Yeah, for real. I love what you said about Cooper Kupp. That dude is on another planet right now. Everything is working right now. And, looking at the Bucks, obviously they don't have to panic at all. They'll be fine. But it's just interesting to see them look kind of flat against a younger and dominant defense like the Rams. It's just interesting to see, because I have a very good feeling that this could definitely be an NFC Championship game matchup right here. And just, it's 2 championship teams, and it's interesting to see them both just where they are right now in the season, the different type of football that they both play. It's interesting to see that the Rams really had this game controlled the entire time.
Yeah. They they barely led in time of possession, but it's like you're right. The defense, they set the tone, they set the pace of the game. The Bucks never really had control. They were always playing from behind, and the Rams kind of just took control early and not ran away, but like they had to.
It felt like it, yeah.
Yeah, like it did feel like it. Like when you were watching it, you were like, the Rams got this, and they held on and won convincingly. Like obviously it was only 10 points, but it feels like it should have been more.
Yeah.
And I mean, like it's not even just about the pass attack. Like they're still running the ball pretty well. I mean, when you got Sony Michel taking 20 carries, that's a good number for him. And for this offense, that's I would say more pass heavy than run heavy, especially with the injury to Cam Akers.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. Any other games that you really wanted to go over?
The only other one that I wanted to talk about was Chiefs Chargers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So this game to me I was really surprised by the outcome of this game.
I think you and I both had Chiefs winning by a lot here.
Yeah, I don't know if I had them winning by a lot, but I had them winning for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's when the Chiefs had to play from behind early, and that I think really just hit them hard, and the Chargers just took control and were allowed to run the ball how they wanted to, and Justin Herbert was able to. He had that space to throw it around, and he got the ball to so many different guys, which you love to see. And he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in this game, for sure. I would say.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. Those 2 picks by Mahomes, and yeah, Herbert's stat line is amazing. 4 touchdowns, no picks, and threw for 280 yards. Very, very solid. And one, so that's great. But yeah, totally agree with you there. I was surprised. Herbert looked super mature in the pocket, and just to go into Kansas City coming off a loss, especially that team was coming in there fired up, ready to get back in the win column, and the Chargers legitimately took it to them. So
I think the Chiefs being 1-2 is more surprising to me than like the Raiders being 3-0.
I can't believe that they're last in the division.
Yeah, they're last place in the division right now. But I mean, I do think it was obviously the Herbert shine and the offense was really good, but they took care of the ball. That's one thing that I realized was like the Chiefs didn't take care of the ball. They had like 3 turnovers, and 3 or 4, I want to say. And the Chargers, I don't think had any.
Yes, they had 4.
Yeah,
4 turnovers, 2 picks, 2 fumbles.
Yeah, so the Chargers didn't have any. I don't believe.
No turnovers.
So that's just a recipe for disaster for the Chiefs. So you got to take better care of the ball if you're Mahomes, and if you're Edwards-Helaire, who's fumbled twice now in the last 2 weeks. And yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say about this game.
Yeah,
props to the Chargers for winning this big divisional matchup.
Completely agree. It's extremely tough to win a game in the NFL when you lose the turnover battle 0-4.
Right.
So, yeah. But besides that, I got nothing else really that I wanted to highlight on. Maybe just that shout out to the Panthers for being 3-0. And shout out to Dallas for winning.
One thing that I wanna do before we go. This is just I have my top 10 quarterbacks right now, and this is solely based on these first 3 weeks of play, right? So, this is gonna be okay. I'm just gonna go.
Let's hear it.
So number 10, Joe Burrow. Number 9, Josh Allen right now. Number 8, Tom Brady. Number 7, we got Russell Wilson. Number 6, Dak Prescott. Number 5, Patrick Mahomes. Number 4, Kyler Murray. Number 3, Kirk Cousins. Number 2, Derek Carr. Number 1, Matt Stafford. Just based off of the 3 weeks of play that we've had so far.
you got some good takes, and maybe I'm so biased. I am so biased. Can I even say that? Is this like a good take? Let's see. Stat wise, I'm putting Rodgers in the top 10.
I would put
I put
Rod. It's so hard.
It's hard. I feel like
It's really hard.
there've been so many guys who have played really well and terrible.
Yeah, you could kind of shuffle around a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard, man. I just kind of came up with that list on the spot, so don't take
Hey,
it.
no. Yeah, you're good. Okay, we didn't touch on it at all. Derek Carr has looked like the man. Like I have loved. He's been on mic'd up. I have loved his leadership on the sideline, and he looks and plays like an MVP right now.
Yeah,
Just
I
from
feel like
everything.
not a lot of people are talking about him right now, and I don't understand that. Kyler Murray seems to be getting all of that love it's totally fair that he is, because he's also playing amazing, and his team is 3-0, and I feel like that praise is justified. But you got to show some love to Derek Carr. I mean, his team's 3-0.
His team's 3-0, and I don't think he has as much of a supporting cast.
Yeah, for sure. And he's still, I think, leading the league in pass yards at the moment.
And one thing that I love about him is that he is truly the face of the Raiders.
Right.
I think when people think of Kyler Murray or just when they think of the Cardinals, I think of DeAndre Hopkins first. And when it comes to the Raiders, I'm like, that is Derek Carr's team, even though you have extremely talented guys like Darren Waller. So yeah, I mean,
so Carr is leading the passing yards by about 150.
Wow, that's surprising how dominant that is. That's amazing, really.
Yeah. The only reason I would say I could see you taking out like a Josh Allen in terms of Aaron Rodgers, just because Josh Allen just recently got back into form. But like Aaron Rodgers that first week was just
he was on something.
Yeah. We'll say that.
You definitely can't ignore that at all, for
Right.
sure. But overall, that's pretty much it for me. I'm good.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good week of football, but yeah, I'm
Sweet.
That's all I had to sweet.
Very much looking forward to this coming week. Got some good games, and we will get you guys with a preview of all those games coming up soon, probably on Thursday or Friday. That episode will be out. Probably Friday, actually. But that's going to do it here for episode number 5 of the Final Drive Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at the Final Drive Podcast, on Twitter at TFD Pod. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, wherever. And that's going to be it. We will see you guys later this week.
I'm on a whole new level. I think I'm breaking out my mental. I'm finally finding my inner peace, baby.
Inner peace, enjoying my company.